Good afternoon, madam. Thank you for a
Right.
very academic presentation. I have a lot of questions, but I would just confine myself with two. Uh,
Yes.
uh, what was the position of dialogue if we just witness? Because in case of Islam and Muslims, because we have this transnational kind of linkages, and I will not completely agree that it was just money driven, because
Mm-hmm.
Muslims certainly believe that in this context we have to just proselytize and propagate the message of Islam
Mm-hmm.
to everybody, and it started with the four caliphs and rest, as you have very well delved. So, don't you think in the Indian context also that religion as an ideology
Mm-hmm.
and the transnationalism in which Islam believes in ummah kind of understanding or solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
So was there a certain kind of othering with the Hindus, Ahle Hunud, or
Mm-hmm.
in many historical texts they use Kufristan for the Indian subcontinent. So
Mm-hmm.
was there a certain kind of othering, or it was just for the pragmatic reasons that whatever you have stated regarding Mughals and others? So that's one broad question. And
Mm-hmm.
a small one is related to witches, the witchcraft. So is it historically that this witchcraft and witch hunting is just associated with women only, or men also victims of the same, this witch hunt kind of?
Okay. All
These
right.
are.
Okay. Nice, Mushtaq. Okay. The first thing is this. You see, if you look at the idea of shahadat, say for example, the idea of being a shaheed, or the idea of ghazi, say for an example, right? So let me just tell you one thing, that in the medieval warfare, the 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 people who will be in the front line of a battlefield, they are sure to die. They're pakka going to die, because there's no way that they're going to be saved, because the armies collide face to face, right? So how you cannot promise these guys anything in this world when they're not living. How do you promise that I'll give you money, I'll give you this, that, I'll give you a house, blah blah blah? It's useless for them. So you have to promise something which is not here, which is in the other world. So the idea that you will be a shaheed and you will go to Jannah, right? Now, if you look at the first four Khalifas, and the way they governed and the way they functioned and thought and operated is very different from what is going to happen soon after the first four Khalifas. So let's just put the Prophet and the first four Khalifas in one bracket. We'll have to. There's no other choice. We have to do that. And then you will find that there's another set of people who come, and then after a while you will have another set which will come, which is perhaps far removed from the earlier practices of the early Muslims. Okay. Now, as far as this idea of propagating Islam, you were saying that there is an underlining inclination that there has to be a ummah and there has to be a community which has to be created. That was an idea which lies basically in the realm of idealism. It wasn't really being operated. I'll give you one example. Like I told you about Mahmud of Ghazni, like he was very greedy, known to be otherwise a champion of Islam, quote unquote. In the reign of Akbar, there was a set of the Sunni who said to Akbar that there was a Shia man whose name I'm forgetting. I think he's Ali Shirazi. Yeah, Ali Shirazi, who was buried next to Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia in the complex where we have the grave of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia in Delhi, right? And a case came before Akbar that Ali Shirazi's dead body should be dug out from there, because he is a Shia and Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia was a Sunni, and therefore Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia will be very uncomfortable in his grave because there is a Shia who's buried next to him. And Akbar ordered that the body be exhumed from there and buried somewhere else. This is being reported by Abdul Qadir Badayuni. He is also contemporary, like I just said to you, writing about Akbar. He says that by doing this, Akbar not only would have displeased Allah, but he would have also, of course, displeased Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia, because Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia didn't stand for this kind of sectarianism. Okay. So if you think of some of these rulers, the kind of the kind of punishments that they give, like I'll give you another example. Muhammad bin Tughlaq used to punish that people's hands will be amputated. people's tongue will be cut off, kaan kaat lenge, naak kaat lenge. Are those punishments sharai? No, they aren't sharai. They're not justified by the Sharia. If you think of Alauddin Khilji, in Alauddin Khilji's reign, a rapist was castrated. That was the punishment. Was it Sharai? No, it wasn't. Although it was a tough punishment, but it was not Sharai. So the ulama always said कि Sharai इनके punishment नहीं. I'll give you another big example. According to the Shariat, the maximum tax that you can take on the produce from the people is 1/3 of the produce. 1/3. The tax that these guys used to take from Alauddin Khilji onwards is more than 1/3. It is 1/2. And in some cases, जहाँ पे level of sustenance is low, like say for example हम लोग का जो गंगा यमुना दोआब का area जहाँ पे ज़मीनें बहुत fertile हैं, they would even take 3/4. There is an author whose name is Qazi Muhammad Allah, who's writing in the 18th century. He says that Muslim rulers of Hindustan, if they were saying that we are taking kharaj, which is a Sharai tax on agrarian produce, which is 1/3 according to the Shariat, then they were lying, because they were not taking the tax as per the Shariat. They were taking a tax which was much higher than that. So you saying that if you look at Balban is the man who said that in the court there has to be sajda and pabos. So everyone had to do sajda to the Sultan. Everyone had to do pabos, kissing of the feet of the Sultan. Balban, he's the third or the fourth Sultan of the Delhi Sultanate. And after Balban, we get to know that pabos had become such a strong practice in the court of the Delhi Sultanate that it was extended to another practice which is known as the Zameen Bos. So if you had to meet the Sultan in the Delhi Sultanate, who's a Muslim Sultan, you have to go on kissing the floor. That is, kissing the mud 5 times before you reach him. And if he's kind enough, then he'll allow you to kiss his feet and do sajda to him. Are they Muslims? Are these guys Muslims? Do they have the right to say that we have come here to spread Islam? This was their Islam. So first they have to put their own house in order. And if they claimed it, they were making a fake claim, because they were using the other poor Muslims, telling them you come and fight for us because then you will become a shaheed and you will go to Jannah. And we are spreading Islam here. Pehle apna Islam to dekh lo, because you will only be accountable for yourself. First accountable for yourself. Then only you will be accountable for doing any other big work. So I think it was definitely about economic issue. They were not thinking of creating any ummah here. No, they weren't. They were fooling the people. Just like
witches. Yeah. The second question about witchcraft.
Yeah. Can you please tell me, Mushtaq, just briefly, what was the second question?
Yeah, second question was the witchcraft. Is it associated just with women, or we find that also men?
Yeah, mostly with women. Mostly with women. If you look at the data in India, it's almost completely 100% about women. Almost 100% about women. Yeah, because it has to do again with physical weakness and general, the capacity to kind of exploit them. Let me just tell you what are the punishments which are given to witches in today, 2019, 2018, 2020. They are made to eat excreta, drink urine, their hair is shaven, they are paraded nude through the village, they are raped by n number of villagers. This is the punishment for witchcraft. What is the difference between the witches and the guys who are punishing them for being witches? I don't get that. So it's, and the other thing is, like I said to you, a number of laws have been made, but in some states, no cases have been actually reported in the police. No cases have come to the law courts where a witch is fighting a case that I am not a witch, they did this to me. So that means the laws are ineffective. They are not effectively being used. So yeah, it is a tool against women. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.